YouTube, it's Chosen a Story. We're going to watch another Sarah Spaceman video about cosplay stuff. This time, the biggest controversy in cosplay history, a Heroes of Cosplay deep dive. This is a long one. We're probably going to, and by we, me, and the editor, Ray, gonna cut this up into multiple videos because, again, it is long, but I love third-party tea. It is my favorite type. It might even surpass sweet tea. Gonna be honest with you. Love that stuff. Anyway, grab your snackies, grab your bevies. I am eating goldfish crackers because I'm a kitty cat. Let me know what you eat or drink down below. And let's get to watching. Maybe.
This cosplay reality show fostered cheating in real cosplay contests, decimated the reputations of its cast, pushed that cast to physical exhaustion and hospital visits, and infuriated cosplayers. I know not everybody understands cosplay or its contests, but I'm gonna make sure you do, because I have painfully analyzed each episode to point out the misrepresentations, poorly aged ideologies, and immeasurable amount of cringe of the very first cosplay TV show, Sci-Fi's Heroes of Cosplay.
I think I remember when this come out, actually. Okay, so, like, at first I was like, right, there's been a few cosplay kind of reality show things or whatever. I think this was the biggest one, and I never watched this, but I remember a lot of the drama surrounding it or that came out about it. Because it did go to a lot of big conventions. I do remember this. All right.
Please subscribe. First, we gotta go back in time, because in the early 2010s, cosplay just wasn't something the general public knew about. But it was still a big enough subculture that major TV networks were starting to think about cosplay reality shows. Ideas like The Real Housewives but cosplay, or Big Brother but cosplay, were being bounced around. They were looking for the catfighting reality TV gold that was the height of media at the time.
Okay. It's something I feel that is being hinted at here. Because it's like, oh yeah, reality. We're going to play up drama shit. I have said this before. I don't think I've said it in a recorded video. I might have. I'm going to say it here. As someone who has been in the cosplay community for a while, okay, since what, 2009 maybe, 10 something, someone who has been in the cosplay community and who is now in the VTubing community. If you are in the VTubing community, or if you follow VTubers, you might notice there's a lot of drama in the VTubing community, yeah? Cosplay community is just the VTube. Before, was the VTubing community, it's the same. It's just the same. It is the same. Like, I'm sorry, it is. Oh my God. I still cosplay to this day. I'm just not as, I would say I was never super crazy serious about it. Like, I never tried to make it a career or anything like that, but like, I did have fun doing it. I used to sew a lot of my costumes, whatever. I don't do that as much anymore because I'm lazy, I'm tired. I ain't got time for that. I got too much other stuff going on, right? My favorite thing when I'm cosplaying, and I didn't even do it this past convention I was at, sadly, but like, one of my favorite things to do is to be in a cosplay and being like, oh my God, there's someone cosplaying from the same show as me, or even the same character as me. Let me go get like a selfie with them. And then a lot of times I will combine all of the selfies and like post them on my Instagram or something like that, like whatever. Do you know how many times someone has given me the dirtiest fucking look and refused to take a picture of me? Or just like, not of me, but with me. Like, they don't want to take a picture with me. They're annoyed that I'm cosplaying the same fucking thing. It's insane to me. Like, you don't own this character, and we are wearing a very similar outfit, which means we both bought it. We both bought this. And even if we didn't both buy it and you majors, more power to you, but it does not hurt anything just to take a quick selfie. I'm not trying to sell your picture. I'm just going to put it on the internet. Like, and not even in like a way that like It's a selfie, man. Like, calm down. I would get nasty looks. I would get people pissed off. Like, it is crazy because cosplay for a lot of these people is like a popularity contest. It's like a beauty contest, right? Who's getting the most attention? Who's getting the most pictures? Who looks the best in the costume? All this other stuff. I'm purely there to have fun. I don't care if anyone wants to take my picture or not. I'm just there to vibe, all right? Like, and have a good time. I don't know if y'all have noticed about the VTubing community, but some same kind of feels going on. God forbid you have the same color palette as somebody else. God forbid if you have the same, like, certain qualities or accessories or vibes or design. It's crazy, y'all. So I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna feel this deep in my soul.
But the cosplayers weren't having that. Yaya Han, who would eventually become the pseudo-host for Heroes of Cosplay, wrote in her book, "One day soon, a cosplay show would be made, and there would be no telling how good or bad it would be. I wanted to be part of the show that did get greenlit so that I could have some influence on how cosplay would be shown to the world."
Just bad.
And for better or worse, she was.
It's catty. It's catty shit. It is drama. It's pettiness. It's cattiness. It's backstabbing. Like, I have had cosplay friends that were like petty and backstabby for no fucking reason. One of the biggest cosplay, I say biggest, so the one that was into cosplay more than me, not friends with, go around and shit talk every other cosplayer. She shit talked me to other people. Like, she would shit talk people that she now claims to be friends with. Like, bigger cosplayers than her, hated them, shit talked them all the time because, like, she would be like, she would do similar cosplays to like bigger cosplayers, because those would either be popular cosplayers. She might have been like, kind of, oh, they announced this, so I'm going to do it too, or I'm going to try to do it before they, have theirs. I don't know. She was kind of like that, copy or whatever. And people would compare and contrast her and the other person. So she hated that other person, even though that other person was more popular than her. Like, it is draining, the amount of drama and pettiness and all this other stuff that it happens.
She goes on to say that Heroes of Cosplay was bounced around from multiple production companies and changed concepts several times. At some point, the show was just going to be about Yaya. At some point, they wanted them to all live in a house together. They asked her to give them the names of her frenemies. And as time went on, other cosplayers got on board to push for a concept that would show the world what cosplay really is. And after a lot of back and forth arguing, guilt tripping, manipulation, and a phone call in the middle of the night, it ultimately got picked up by 51 Minds and Sci-Fi and would start shooting in 2012. Yaya would be the host, with 8 other cosplayers signed onto the cast. And thanks to those people, it wouldn't be Real Housewives, and it wouldn't be Bad Cosplayers Club. But production was going to fight for reality TV gold, and they decided that the most interesting thing about cosplay was its competitions.
Yep.
Each episode would focus on one.
That's where a lot of the drama is. Can't make anybody happy in cosplay competitions. We've talked about this before, very specifically on a Sarah Spaceman cosplay convention or cosplay contest video. You cannot fucking make people happy in cosplay competitions. It does not matter. It does not matter if you basically copy another cons, it's a bigger conventions cosplay contest, or if you have your own, or if you like, it doesn't matter. If they don't win, they're pissed. And they're talking about how the person that won didn't deserve to win. If they don't win, they're pissed about how your cosplay was won. Your contest was run. If they do win, they like how your costume contest was run. It's exhausting.
One con that all or some of the cast would be attending, but prior to the competition part of the show, there would be scenes of the cast members making that cosplay. So now the show not only has the problem of introducing cosplay, but also cosplay contests. Because instead of inventing their own insular competition format, akin to like Ink Master, or I don't know, Project Runway, they decided that they would send the cast to real, regular cosplay competitions happening at real cons where real cosplayers with no association to production would also be competing.
Yeah, that's a problem. There was another one that came out that was basically Project Runway, but like cosplay related. Rufflebuck Cosplay, who is now known as Jesse Pridemore, did take part in that version. I didn't watch any of it, I'm gonna be honest, but whatever. And like even with the Project Runway one, they kind of like it had its own problems. So like this is just a hard thing to really make a show about, to be honest. Mostly if you're gonna incorporate outside like entities such as outside conventions. Like you really probably should have just done your own kind of thing as opposed to trying to incorporate other conventions as well.
We'll talk about the problems that caused later. For now, here is an entire recap and roast of every episode of Heroes of Cosplay. But I want everyone to remember that the cast had no say in how they were presented or edited. Do not go harass any of the cosplayers involved in this show, because I'm sure most of them are mortified that they were even part of it.
Also, it is important to note, very specifically for reality type shows, they do masterful editing to make everyone seem like a worse person than they might be, right? Okay, so like these people are going to be edited to where, you know, they say something catty or shitty and that's not what they were in a conversation that they weren't actually said anything like that in, if that makes sense. So like they're going to edit things in such a way that they seem like the worst human beings they can make them. And to the point where they're going to edit things to where like, hey, I wasn't even part of that conversation, or when I said what I said, it was not about what they edited it to make it seem like I was referencing. That's just reality TV show. I personally would suggest against going into reality TV shows or being a part of reality TV show unless you want to be just considered a terrible person, because that's what they do.
Episode 1 has the immediately difficult task of not only explaining what the show is about, but also what cosplay is in general, as this would have been what a lot of people's first introduction to the hobby was. And this is what they were told.
Welcome to the artistic, sexy, and cutthroat world of cosplay.
So cosplay can be sexy, but just like not all rectangles or squares, children cosplay. And children are not squares. Anyway, they establish what cosplay is, people dressing up as characters from media, establish that there are famous cosplayers, and then present cosplay competitions, hyping them up as compelling because you can win money and fans.
Winning a competition can lead to unlimited business opportunities. The competitors.
That really heavily depends on the convention you're going to and that you're competing in. Like heavily. There's hundreds, thousands of conventions at this point. Hundreds, right? Like, so, and some of them don't even have cash prizes. So it's just kind of like, chill out a little bit. Like, winning you, like, business opportunity. Like, not always. Calm down a little bit.
Are ruthless. It all comes down to the moment of truth when the cosplayers take the stage. Those who survive can call themselves the heroes of cosplay.
That's the intro to cosplay. We are ruthless, cutthroat, sexy people interested in money and fame. Now we get to the cast introductions. And first up is Victoria. She's been cosplaying for 14 years and she says there's different types of cosplayers. Some people do it for fun. She doesn't do it for fun. She does it to be accurate. The competition for this episode is Wizard World Portland's contest. And
first of all, you could be accurate and still have fun. I personally have this whole thing of like a lot of time, like cosplay and VTubing, it is hard to make that a business for you. Like, it is hard to like make enough successful whatever to live off of. Like, pay your bills. This is my job. I can put in for retirement, so at some point I can stop doing this and not have to go get a job after I've been doing this for X amount of years. Like, because that's kind of what you have to do. You have to plan for like if you're like, hey, I'm going to be a cosplayer as a job or a VTuber as a job. Like, that's my career. Like, cool. You have to plan for when you're not doing it anymore.
Here,
and it is difficult.
Get this for you.
Hey, thank you for the gifted sub. It is difficult to get there. And you might never, ever get there. So my feelings are, if you are not enjoying it, because this is the type of thing that I feel you should do because you enjoy it. Sorry, that's my personal opinion. Again, just an opinion. If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? Like, if it's like, no, I'm going to be the most accurate, sure, but are you not having fun? Do you not have pride and enjoyment about being the most accurate? I don't understand the vibe, I guess.
She's trying to make a Lulu cosplay a week before the con. She backs up this incredibly reasonable and realistic decision by saying that Yaya can put together a cosplay in 3 days. Which leads us to Yaya's introduction, who is introduced as the queen of cosplay, and she remains our sovereign to this day. She's a cosplayer with a wealth of experience, talent, and passion for this community, and she was also on this show. But she plays a different role to the other cast members, in that Yaya is actually retired from competing, so she's going to be a judge at all the competitions, and kind of acts as
Yaya is what a lot of people aspire to end up at. Some, because now we've got different branches of, it's a new world. Anyway, so like back in the day, like people who made their cosplays because you had to make it because less of it was actually available for you to purchase online. It was so hard to get like good wigs online too. Don, thanks for the follow. So people would aspire to end up being like Yaya Han, because Yaya Han has been in the cosplay community, quote unquote, business for years, has had many collabs, has worked in cosplay scenes, has her own line in Joanne. She makes patterns. She has her own fabric line. She's the face of a lot of things. She's associated with like Warbler, like a bunch of stuff, right? So it's like, I want to get to that level, right? That's fine. Something that blows my mind today is now there's people that are like, I want to be a cosplay guest. I've never made anything cosplay related. Like, I literally just buy all my cosplays and then I'm popular online, which is like, that's fine. I'm happy for you, but I don't understand personally, because like, I'm like, yeah, I guess you could talk about like how to get popularity online. When I go in and look for a cosplay guest, I want someone who can teach something to like anybody, and it's not just like, this is how you be necessarily popular online, but like, this is how you make this item, this is how you take cosplaying into, I now make things for big Hollywood movies, and that is my career is like basically a seamstress or whatever. Like, I don't know, that's just me personally, I guess. Anyway.
a host alongside the narrator for the entire show. Yaya at this time is paying her mortgage through cosplay by selling merchandise like prints and her iconic, patented, and copyrighted cat ears. I have one. Those things had a whole legal battle. Then there's the first hint of how crazy the schedule for this show was, because she then says that she's going on a 6-week convention tour, which is not normal by any means. Next, we meet a team of cosplayers.
It depends on what you're doing. If you were, Yaya Han works a lot of times as a vendor. So she vends at conventions. She sells her prints. She sells her ears. She has like wings that she sells. She sells patterns. She'll sell like Warbler or her fabric. She'll sell different things. She's a vendor. Even if she herself is not at the convention, she has a vending table that will sometimes go out and sell at conventions that she is not even at. Normal vendor stuff, right? Vendors will often do multiple conventions back to back to back. That is their livelihood. So that's not weird, I don't feel. Like, oh, a 6-week convention tour. That's like you working every weekend. And like, yes, there is like consideration to take for like travel. So how long does it take you to travel to wherever you're going? Like, also like, you know, some conventions are 4-day long conventions. Some are 3 days, some are 2 days, some are 1 day. Like, but I don't think that's that abnormal if you're looking at it from like a vendor standpoint as opposed to like a cosplayer standpoint. She also gets brought to a lot of conventions as a guest to either MC their cosplay contest or be a judge for them, and that is her career. So like if she's like, I have a bunch of conventions lined up, that also makes sense. I don't think that's weird.
Players, one of whom you may have heard of, Holly Conrad and Jessica Marizin. They make money by running a
Crabcat Industries is our costume fabrication shop, cosplay community, and new media entertainment company.
They will be entering the competition in cosplays of their D&D characters. They are returning to competing, but oh no, competitions have strained their friendship before.
Yeah, they're stressful.
Holly threw a spaz attack every time. She's like, no, why didn't we win? I have to overanalyze this. I'm gonna get all crazy and pee in jars now.
Yeah, these two's dynamic gave the show a lot to work with, even in their intro. Because they get into an argument at a makeup shop, and Holly says they're too uncomfortable to show any cleavage, and Jessica insists that sex sells.
We're in a competition.
About costumes, not cleavage. This isn't the cleavage competition.
I just want to say sex sells. That's
What? Not wrong,
That's all
though.
I'm saying.
We are barely into the show, and I can already tell how obviously forced most of what everyone says is. Like, please listen to this and tell me this isn't the third time these people said these lines after they were fed them by producers.
You realize that Wizard World Portland is less than 2 weeks away. Are we getting too ambitious with this?
We're always ambitious. We can literally make anything and do anything. You've said it yourself.
Yeah, it felt really scripted and not organic at all. Specifically how she says, like, are we getting too ambitious with this? Like, okay. That really felt legitimately scripted.
Yes, but just promise me you're not gonna have a freak out.
I can promise nothing.
We're not at the problematic stuff, but I promise you it's coming. But please keep in mind that some of this could have been fed by producers to try and make the show work. Next up is production's least favorite cast member, the only man, Jesse. Jesse has a regular job, and from what I remember, he was everybody's favorite. He's been doing cosplay for 5 years, but he's never competed, and he's entering a cosplay that he's already been working on, which is way more normal, a power armor build from Fallout. That's all we get of Jesse, though, because production hates his lack of breasts, because now we meet Becky. She's doing Merida from Brave, and her whole thing is being the character. She calls herself the method actor of cosplay because she likes to have an accent and do what they do. So she goes to archery. And this is weird behavior that I don't want to encourage people to do, because while it's cool if you want to learn how to pose like an archer, acting like Deadpool is not funny anymore, and I need people to stop doing it. That's the cast for this episode. There will be more introductions later.
Listen, it's just that like a lot of people that are quote unquote acting like Deadpool are just assholes and harassing people. That's the issue. They think they're funny and cute, and they're really just harassing people. Like no one minds like an actual legitimate like in character like decent Deadpool cosplayer. It is the people that think that they're all that's the issue, that don't care or respect other people's boundaries or space or whatever. I don't know how to explain it. Like, sure, I guess. Again, like, it's cosplay. It's for most people a hobby, but like it's for, you know, a lot of these people it's not a hobby, but like you can do whatever you want for the most part. Like, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying it, I'm happy for you. I wouldn't go out and be like, hey, I'm going to learn this or like go figure out archery or what. I wouldn't do that because that's time out of my day. It's time out of my life. I've got stuff going on and it's not that deep for me, but like whatever. I also don't enter into cosplay contests. I've entered into like 2 and talked to a lot of people and gone to a lot of them. But like I've entered into more than 2. I just remember 2 specifically. But like, I don't do that. That is such a big chunk of your day at a convention. And again, I'm there for fun and I don't even really make my cosplays very often anymore. So like, not saying I don't at all because I have, but like, I got other stuff going on, man. Like, I just want to have fun with people. But just seems so force. And I feel like, hey, Jesse or the dude is everyone's favorite. And I'm like, yeah, I bet. Because, like, he's not being force-fed lines. And even if he is, like, he's like, yeah, so this is the cosplay I've been working on for a while now because that's how it usually works. And, like, this is it. And, like, cosplay's not my whole life. I have a job and my hobby, and I've never competed before, but now that I'm doing this show, I guess I'll compete. So, like, he's probably just, like, the normal guy, and they're like, that's not exciting. I will say the whole, like, sex sells comment. You will get a lot more attention if you're a little sexy at a convention than you will if you're not. I will give you that. Like, pretty girls get more attention. It is what it is. But if you're at a legitimate cosplay contest, it shouldn't matter. Because if it's craftsmanship, like, yes, how you visually look probably goes into it a little bit. But, like, for me, at least at my show, it is really just, like, how well constructed is your cosplay. Not so much, like, are you showing, booba.
But for now, we get drama. So there's this scene with Becky at the gym where she talks about how she needs to lose weight for Merida.
It's been a real struggle to try and stay thin enough.
For girls, it's so tough because all the good characters are drawn with such, skimpy outfits.
And the internet is unforgiving. It's like, oh my gosh, it's the fat version of this, or she needs to do sit-ups.
And this whole conversation just makes me sad. The show paints this as the standard for cosplay. And I'll get back to that later. For now, Victoria is trying to do a bunch of embroidery in a week, which is like, holy crap. Because I thought she was talking about hand embroidering it, which in a competition, hand embroidery is more impressive, but they are doing it by machine. So it's not impossible to do in a week, but it's not as impressive. And in general, a cosplay like Lulu is just not something you can make in a week. Holly and Jessica need to do a face cast to make Jessica's horns because Kamui Cosplay's horn pattern didn't exist yet. And like, it is more impressive to do them this way, but they end up just buying horns instead. Yaya is making a last-minute cosplay, and we are introduced to Warbla, the incredibly expensive thermoplastic that ushered in the cosplay armor boom of the 2010s, though it was quickly replaced by its cheaper cousin, EVA foam. And trust me, my explanation of that is way better than what the show said.
I still have a bunch of Warbla. I bought a bunch of it. When I did, like, Lady Palatena, like, a long time ago, a lot of it was made out of Warbla, and so I bought entirely too much because I didn't know how much I needed. And I still have it, and I still use it to this day for different things. And it is neat. It is a thermoplastic, so you, like, heat it up, and you can kind of mold it almost like it's clay, except it comes in, like, a sheet. It is also a really good way to stiffen things, so if it's like, hey, I'm using, like, craft foam. Like, generally you sandwich Warbla onto something else that's cheaper, like craft foam or something like that. It's neat. I'm just saying, like, I like it. There have been multiple different versions of Warbla that has come out. There are also other thermoplastics that have come out. And yes, you can do stuff with EVA foam. EVA foam does not become as stiff as Warbla. But you can do a lot of stuff with both.
Becky is Sharpie dyeing a wig, which is the worst way to dye a wig because you have to go through the entire thing and it will leak on your face. Rit dye did exist back then. I don't know what the hell Becky is doing. We get to see Jessie.
No, it was just popular back then. Oh, buddy. It was popular back then to use Sharpies. But generally it was like, okay, take the Sharpie apart, put the inkwell of the Sharpie into a bottle that also has, like, rubbing alcohol in it into a spray bottle and spray it. It will run. It will never fully dry, or if it never did for me. Generally, if you're doing something like Sharpie, it's like, for my personal opinion, it's if you're doing like a specific small design that maybe exists in the hair or something, but also, 100% production told him to try to sit in this car because I'm going to tell you, if you are wearing a costume that's hard to drive in and you have to drive, you just put most of that shit on when you get in the parking lot of whatever con you're going to. Like, 100%, you're not driving in it. I've driven in cosplays. I have driven in half cosplays. And by half cosplays, I mean, like, I might be wearing the wig and, like, some undergarments or, like, parts of the cosplay. If it's anything with like a ball gown, I cannot drive in it. So I'm either like in the back seat and someone else is driving me, or I will change in a parking lot. I drive a minivan. We know this. I have changed in the backseat of my minivan multiple times. I have offered the backseat of my minivan for all of my friends to change if they want to change. Like, changing in the backseat of a car or in a parking lot is very normalized at conventions, like 100%.
He tried to sit in his car in his cosplay, but that's all we get of him. We find out that the judges for the upcoming competition are the late Jason David Frank, Jesse Snyder, and Yaya. Some of the cast is worried about Yaya being a judge, presumably because she's the only one that knows how to sew. Before the competition, we get a look at the con and a little more drama. Yaya says she has to appear like she deserves to be a judge when she's judging with an actor. They do some fake voiceover, like Yaya is getting this grand introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the floor, Yaya Han.
There's lots of fake camera flashes. This fake celebrity stuff, to me, is like the biggest cringe of the show. Like, Yaya is a big name in the cosplay world, and people do come up to her and ask for pictures, but no one is announcing when somebody famous just walked into the convention hall. Victoria didn't finish in time and has to have...
She'll get announced for, like, the cosplay contest. Like, it's like, welcome the MC or this judge or whatever. Like, that happens. But, like, just showing up at the convention, maybe at, like, you know, if they're opening ceremony, if they're a con with opening ceremonies and they announce guests, or she wanted to be part of opening ceremonies, they would announce her there. But this little voiceover is a little weird.
Her embroidery pieces overnight shipped to her, and she receives it with only a few hours left because she went out drinking the night prior. Then we get these weird green screen presentations of the cosplays with these hyper fake shots of everybody walking down the stairs that were clearly roped off by production, but not one for Jessie. But now it's time for the competition.
Aww,
you would think that at this point the show would have explained how cosplay competitions work, but the show explains very little. So here is my very quick animated explanation. This is Karen. She's worked on her cosplay for 6 months and wants to enter it into a craftsman contest, a contest where the winners are determined by how well made that cosplay is. She either applies for the contest online or in person at the con, and when she signs up, she gets a time slot for prejudging, which is where she'll go into a small room with the judges where they look at her cosplay up close. The judges are fellow cosplayers with enough experience in competitions, sewing, and armor making that they are well equipped to determine how well made that cosplay was and are able to sniff out any cut corners. They flip the hems of her dress to see how it's finished. They take a close look at her wig and determine how well styled it is. Somebody shakes her prop to make sure it's not falling apart, and they ask Karen a bunch of questions. She spits out 3 minutes of word vomit about how she made that cosplay before she's ushered out of the room. With Karen gone, the judges compare her cosplay to everything else they've seen that day, and before the stage show ever happens, they are 90% sure of where she ranks in the competition. Hours later,
at my show, the stage thing doesn't matter at all. Like, it is entirely based on to be fair, my cons are smaller, so like whatever, but the stage thing doesn't really factor into judges' decisions unless the judges legitimately are like, there are 3 of them it could be and we cannot decide until let's look at what it looks like on stage, because like they are like even on every aspect otherwise. But for the most part, everything is decided before the actual stage thing happens. It is like based on, again, how well the costume was made, constructed, etc. at prejudging.
Later, Karen takes the stage, strikes a couple poses for the audience, and then waits with everyone else for the awards to be announced. Karen doesn't win anything because she hot glued her hem, but she had fun. And next time, maybe she'll actually sew it. The thing I want everyone on board with is that cosplay contests are often determined long before the stage show. What matters is the time spent making the thing well. And the decisions are made in prejudging when the judges look at the cosplay up close. But what I just described is how cosplay contests work now in 2024. In 2013, 2016, while cosplayer judges were on the rise, it was still very common to have judges that were industry guests, like actors, because that was a
I feel like every cosplay contest I've interacted with, the ones at my show, were either they were done by cosplayers, but it could have been like I've been a judge at my shows multiple times. Someone who I'm friends with who literally makes things for movies in Hollywood has been a judge at my shows multiple times. Like, I mean, that's what her career is now. It wasn't back then. But like, you know, like cosplayers who make stuff, who like, you know, I've had sewing classes like at a big university. Like, it's at least cosplayers that at least made things were at least the judges. I've never really had like a celebrity, just like actor or voice actor or whatever, be a judge for my cosplay contest. And I don't remember going to one really that kind of had that. But I also have the worst memory in the world. So,
common practice since the inception of cosplay contests. So you're gonna see a lot of that in this show, but what you're not gonna see is anything else I described, because sci-fi paints a very different picture. The show makes no effort to point out that 2 out of the 3 judges have zero idea how cosplay works, though they briefly have Yaya say a few things about what they are looking for.
Our showmanship, craftsmanship, and difficulty.
Prejudging isn't.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's some cosplay contests have like you have to do a skit, which is the showmanship aspect. A lot of the skit-based ones have died off, but there are still some around that are skit-based. Mine is definitely not skit-based. In fact, I try to like explain every year, like, this is what we're doing, this is how you're gonna do on stage, this is what you're gonna do, blah, 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 blah. Take your time and do not freak out. Like, you're gonna walk across the stage, you're gonna stand here, you're gonna pose in this direction, pose in this direction, pose in this direction, then you're gonna walk off stage. Don't freak out. Take your time. It's okay. You look amazing. Like, you worked really hard. Show off your work. Like, you're totally fine. I understand that there's a crowd of people in front of you, and that stage fright is our thing, but the more you rush to get off stage, the more freaked out you're going to be. So take your time to walk across the stage. But like, yeah, just that's weird. I mean, there's definitely people out there that have made cosplay their career in various different ways. And there's definitely like, you know, some on the rise, I guess, cosplay guests or people that want to be cosplay guests that have never made anything. And it's more popularity based as opposed to craftsmanship based. I don't know. It's a new scene, really.
Mentioned it all, but I do not know if at this time that this contest had prejudging. But then my question would be, why would you contract this contest to be part of the show?
Because Wizarding World was big.
And remember,
I don't think Wizarding World exists anymore, because Wizarding World kind of did this thing. These kinds of shows keep popping up, where they will have like one really big successful show and then a bunch of branch off shows in other locations that are smaller. And a lot of times when those happen, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, that convention, or at least the smaller portion of it, goes under. Or they kind of just disappear in different ways, I've noticed. And there's like, someone was telling me about some convention that was doing something similar, and I was like, wait, like they're gonna be like the new Wizarding World? And they were like, yes! And I was like, okay. Wizarding World Comic-Con was huge. They had like a handful of really big shows across the United States, and then they started branching out with a lot of smaller shows in different locations. And then they stretched themselves too thin, and some stuff happened. I'm not involved with them. I don't know what all happened. But at the time, Wizarding World Comic-Con was a big deal. They weren't San Diego Comic-Con size, though. So it's like, what conventions are big enough deals, right, that it's worth us going and contracting with them, but also are willing to work with us? Wizarding World Comic-Con being one of them.
isn't an insular contest. This was a real costume contest open to the public, and there are a bunch of people not in the cast who also entered this. They also do this really weird thing where they have the contestants talk on the stage and answer questions, and this is something I've only seen at bad costume contests.
Why would you have them talk and answer? The question and answering portion is during prejudging. So them talking on stage had nothing else other than it had to do with the fact that it was like a production thing and they were doing filming. Like, kind of annoys me because they're 100% framing this in such a way that this isn't real. It is 100% reality TV bullshit. And like, you could just have them. No one in that audience cares. Like, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right there. The people that are sitting there watching do not care. They want to see the next cosplay come up. They want to see the cosplayer, like, come up, pose. They want to cheer. They want to see the cosplayer walk off and the next one come up. All right? And then they want to stick around and they want to hear who wins because they have a favorite that they have chosen based on the cosplay or how the person looks, how the cosplay works, whatever, the character, whatever. They'll have a favorite and they're hoping that person wins. Like, they don't care for the back and forth conversation. They really don't.
They give Becky the mic and she continues to role play at everyone. Jesse spins his gun and Yaya is impressed. Holly and Jessica go up and the MC says tiefling wrong.
The tiefling.
And last up is the engineer and not Victoria because she didn't finish in time. For the awards, Becky gets an honorable mention. Second and third place are not in the cast. Holly and Jessica get best team. And first place is commercial break. Did you know running around on old websites looking for ice cold tea and downloading YouTube videos from that one website everybody uses could be dangerous? Some of those pop-up ads are not just trying to get you to download mobile games. Some of them are trying to fill your computer with malware. That's called malvertising. And if you happen to click on one of those ads, it can send your IP address and configurations to hackers looking to fill your computer with malware. That's where today's video partner, NordVPN, comes in. Their threat protection blocks those ads and keeps your browsing safe and
setting
smooth.
up
Plus,
food,
it
by
will
the way.
also scan your
Anyone's wondering what I'm
downloads
doing.
for malware. And you can get an exclusive NordVPN deal plus 4 months extra if you go to nordvpn.com/SarahSpaceman. NordVPN's threat protection can also save you from phishing scams. That's where scammers pretend to be somebody you know or something you use, like a bank, to try to get you to input your bank information into a fake website. But NordVPN can recognize those malicious links and warn you when you're on a sketchy website to protect you from giving scammers all of the money in your bank. So if you want to protect yourself and also get the added benefit of being able to trick the internet into thinking you're in a different country so you can watch old 2013 cosplay reality shows that might not be available in your country, then hey, did I mention that you can get an exclusive NordVPN deal plus 4 months extra
Or
if you
like,
go to
or like if you want to watch the second Venom movie because you don't remember what happened in it, and that's not available on any streaming service in the U.S. for whatever reason.
NordVPN.com.
Not saying I did that.
Sarah Spaceman. And hey, it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN.com/Sarah Spaceman. First place is also not in the cast, and Jesse wins nothing and is sad. And that's episode 1. It taught us nothing about craftsmanship, gave zero explanation of why some things won and others didn't, but it did.
I can't tell you why they did or didn't either because I would have to see them up close. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, you know, Jesse being the type of person that's like, I have never entered into a cosplay contest. You'll have people that have never entered into a cosplay contest or any type of contest with their sewing who will be like, I think I might be like a novice or something. And then they walk away with best in show. Like, because it's like, no, their shit is immaculate. They're using techniques that are masterclass techniques that they just randomly learned on the internet, or they had a grandmother that made clothes or something like that. And so they're just like really talented and they don't know. That's just the thing. But like also, if you've never participated, you might not know what is considered like good, quote unquote. Like what judges are looking for, like what you have to definitely be on top of, because it could look immaculate and amazing on the outside, but then you check the inside of it and it's a little sloppy or something like that. My shit's sloppy on the inside. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. That sounded away. My seams and stuff. People have asked me. I've made cosplays, and some of my friends specifically, I should say, have asked me like, "Oh, are you willing to do commissions?" And I'm like, "No," because I'm not willing to do the extra work that does the internals of this cosplay to look good. Because for me, I'm gonna wear it once or twice or like a handful of times, and I'm the only one that's gonna interact with it, so I don't care. But if it's something I have to sell, it has to be immaculate, and I don't have the patience for it. Raising
did teach us that being thin and doing a character voice is important. Victoria doesn't know how to work on a realistic timeline, that Holly and Jessica have a toxic friendship, and that Jessie is irrelevant. So what did cosplayers think of the very first cosplay TV show? They hated it. They thought it was a gross misrepresentation of cosplay as a whole, but especially cosplay contests. They were absolutely disgusted by the conversation on bodies, disappointed.
Yeah, that whole thing, like, oh, you have to be thin. Like, I get it. Like, there's this whole thing about, like, it's similar, like, oh, I gotta get bathing suit ready, beach ready, summer ready, whatever. But, like, it doesn't, you can make something look very flattering on you and not have the thinnest body. Like, it doesn't, that's ridiculous. First of all, there's a lot of, like, structural things you can do. You can wear a corset. You can use padding. People use that in cosplays. You can fit it in such a way that it might not be the most accurate, but is flattering to your body style, because you don't have a Disney body style, because that's almost unobtainable. Like, let's face it. Like, so this is damaging. Like, this conversation kind of sucks.
That the show only focused on contests and not the having fun part, and we're generally disappointed that the show seemed to be catering to a general audience and didn't have them in mind. People were excited for this show to come out. Some people saw it as a way to legitimize this hobby to their family members who didn't understand it. And when they showed it to those family members, they showed them cutthroat, sexy, money, fame, please? I understand that a niche subject like cosplay has to be approached really carefully when it's being made for a large platform like TV. But there are plenty of shows that can bring an unfamiliar audience into the world of its subject while still actually accurately representing.
Just spilled soy sauce everywhere. I'm so sorry.
A good example of that is Drag Race, but unlike Drag Race, where an actual drag queen is an exclusive producer, Heroes of Cosplay had no RuPaul. The cast members in Heroes of Cosplay, despite their best efforts to explain our community, were not the producers, directors, or editors of the project. And the people that had that power in their hands dropped the ball. It was clear that producers were favoring the drama, but that was just episode 1. It was about to get so much worse.
Reality TV show is nothing but fake drama. Like, that's what reality TV show is. Reality TV show is not real in any way. It is manufactured drama for the entertainment of other people. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that it all is all like malicious editing and manufactured bullshit. It is. Don't go on reality TV shows, guys. It's not worth it. Don't do it.
The con for episode 2 is Emerald City Comic-Con, and this episode contains the single most controversial moment of the entire show. And it starts with a few more cast introductions, with the first being Chloe. She was the host of a cosplay show for a YouTube channel. Her dad invented the lightsaber, and this isn't mentioned in the show, but she was also an extra in Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. She hasn't competed before, but will be entering at Emerald City and wants to compete because she hosts a cosplay show and says she needs street cred. And she's making Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice and a sandworm prop to go with it, which she's going to make out of some kind of unexplained foam. We don't find out what the foam is or how she's going to do it, but she does buy the biggest can of barge cement that I have ever seen, and she ends up getting some help from Holly and Jessica for the thing's head. The next introduction is Monica Lee, who's been going to DragonCon since she was 12 years old and is doing a steampunk Poison Ivy cosplay. And I had to Google it, but that is fan art of Poison Ivy by the pretty famous fan artist No Flutter, but there is no artist credit in the show, and in fact,
that's a lot of people use. I keep getting soy sauce everywhere. Problem. A lot of people use No Flutter's designs. They're, I feel like, a little bit over the top. They're pretty busy. Like they're visually like I get it, visually appealing. And like it's definitely like if you do it well, it could definitely win you cosplay contests because of all of the effort that you have to put into it because it is a lot. But yeah, it kind of sucks that I would like to think she'd at least be like, "Hey, I'm doing this version of Poison Ivy from this artist, like the no flutter version." I would like to think that she said that and that just got cut, but it should not have been cut. In my opinion. Okie dokie.
Fact, every time someone does a fan art cosplay, the artists are never credited. They also established that Monica is best friends with Jessica Negri, who I don't think I have to introduce because she is and was one of the most famous.
I always pronounce it Nigiri. But I keep hearing people keep like pronouncing it this other way?
Negri, who I don't think I have to introduce because she is and was one of the most famous cosplayers in the entire world. Oh, but her prestige and...
I fucked up the scene. Hold on. That's fine. Sorry. We're back.
Were never credited. They also established that Monica is best friends with Jessica Negri, who I don't think I have to introduce because she is and was one of the most famous cosplayers in the entire world. Oh, but her prestige and fame will not be recognized on this show because Negri, for some reason, is not on the cast. Monica introduces...
That was probably a smart move on her part. She might have just been busy, or she might have been like, nah, man. That was probably a good plan on her part, not being part of this.
Jessica as...
Her shtick is that she kind of likes to cosplay sexy characters and put her body out there.
The camera then zooms in on her boobs. I didn't do that. That's what it does. Then there's this drama with Monica's mom who doesn't want her daughter doing sexy cosplay.
It's cute, but you're not gonna have your boobs hanging out like that, are you?
Yes, I'm gonna put my boobs everywhere.
Please tell me you're wearing underwear under here.
Stop nagging me.
Monica also apparently had a summer job working for Yaya, making those cat ears, and they established that Yaya is her mentor. And Yaya steps in on the Mama Monica drama. And oh boy.
I'm a little worried that Monica will be seduced by Jessica's sexy cosplay style and forget about the importance of craftsmanship that I've instilled on her.
So YouTube's content ID system really hated this clip, so I'm just gonna read you verbatim what Yaya says here.
Hold on. What she says here is pretty controversial, so I think... Let me go to this for a second. I think it's important that you hear it. Listen. If you want to sexy up a character, you are more than welcome to do that. I've cosplayed I cosplayed Raven. And I had like a bodysuit that was like high cut and stuff like that. So it definitely wasn't like, it was a little sexier, I guess. That's fine. Yaya is known for doing sexy not at like in a different way than Jessica is, I suppose, but she definitely shows off her assets. So the fact that like she's like kind of this might be editing, or this might just be like producers trying to push what she's... I don't know. This seems to be a slight against Jessica Negri, or Nigiri, or however you say it. And I don't think that's very fair. Personally. Like... Okay.
I think Jessica and we approach cosplay from different angles. You know, for me, it's all about the craftsmanship, really paying a lot of attention to detail. The content that Jessica Negri puts out really displays cosplay in the wrong light, and I don't really want my little Monica to go down that path. She doesn't ever produce anything that showcases anything beyond sex appeal, and I think it's okay to show sex appeal in cosplay. I do it myself, but you've got to have a balance. I really wish Monica would maybe follow me in my footsteps more than just going to have fun with Jessica.
As time goes on in your cosplay career, it is definitely tempting to just go for the easy, cheap route. You have to promise.
Okay. Dang. So if you guys don't follow any of them, Jessica does a lot of stuff. And yeah, this was like 10 years ago, but still, like, she is the face for a lot of things. So how Jessica got really famous, like, one, she had this famous, like, sexy Pikachu cosplay that she did at one point, but, like, she got put on the map because she ended up being she entered into a contest and won, being the cosplay quote unquote face, like a booth babe type thing for not No More Heroes. She was Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw. She was basically considered the Juliet of Lollipop Chainsaw. That is how she got put on the map. And she does a lot of over the top, like, crazy builds now. Like, even if they're sexy, she'll also do like funny, silly things. But even if they're sexy, like, she's out there churning out like armor builds and like all kinds of other shit. So like, this is wow. This is something. Like, damn.
That you're not going to sell yourself short.
We will unpack all of that later. For now, we meet another cast member, Riki, also known as Riddle, also known as the judge that was horrified by Joe getting shooed off stage at DreamHack last year. At the time of the show, she'd been cosplaying for 10 years and wants to work in costumes for TV and movies, and hopes that competing will get her there. She'll be doing a Hell Girl cosplay, and she's doing a super complicated process for the prop for her Hellboy hand, from what I can tell, but the show doesn't explain this at all. She's doing sculpting and mold making.
It's her making the mold. The sculpt is under the white stuff. The white stuff is most likely some kind of silicone. Yeah, my understanding of the show is they were just like drama. Here's like a cut of them doing something, but we're not going to go into what they're doing. I feel like they could have absolutely been like, could you explain to us what you are doing while you're doing it? Like, what are you making? How are you making it? What are the techniques you are using? Something like, you don't have to go, like, even if it was like vague, like, oh, this is like, you know, part of my like hand for my Hellboy cosplay. I, you know, made a mold out of this material and now I am putting like silicone on it so I can pour the mold like a different material in it. Like, what, even if it was like vague, like something, but they didn't do that at all.
Meaning that she hand sculpted that thing, made a mold of it, and then cast it in a specific kind of resin that would stick to the sides. This is a super complex, very expensive process of prop making that is used by like movie professionals. Yes. She's doing top tier work here, and the show doesn't point it out at all. Next, we
not
Cheer 100. Anyway, here is a cosplay content transition to the next argument.
Yeah, on point. Like, anyway, here's them working on cosplay while we, you know, it is a little break between drama. We're gonna get to more drama in a minute. But, like, the fact that I feel like not Jessica, I feel like Yaya got mad at this show because it was, like, character assassination, but I don't fully remember. Because, like, there was a lot of drama about, like, how just badly they portrayed everybody and how, like, it caused a lot of bad blood between people and all this other stuff that wasn't like how people really felt. And I was, dang.
We join Jesse, who is doing steampunk for the camera. He's doing a steam trooper, that's a steampunk stormtrooper, and the only other scene we get of him this episode is him using a vacuum former when the power goes out. But that's all for poor Jesse. It's time to go back to Victoria, who, if you didn't notice yet, Victoria doesn't really make her own costumes, or her boyfriend Jinyo does. For Emerald City, they want to do an original design based on the movie Tron Legacy, which is a movie everyone liked and remembers. And yeah, he basically makes the entire cosplay for her. But it's time for Emerald City Comic-Con. Yaya confronts Victoria about not showing up last episode, and Yaya points out that when Victoria met Jinyo, her quality shot through the roof. Jessica Nigri shows up and we hear literally nothing from her, but Monica does say that Yaya has beef with her for getting likes for being sexy. But that leads us to the most controversial moment of the entire show.
What is it?
Most of the cast, not including Jessie, goes out for drinks.
All of the women go for drinks. Because Jesse's just doing his own thing, and we don't care about Jesse. I care about Jesse. What's Jesse doing? Is he actually working on his damn cosplay unlike the rest of them? What's Jesse doing? Like, also, they just keep showing them go out for drinks, which is the most scripted reality TV show bullshit. Like, oh yeah, every night we go out for drinks together. And then we talk about drama. Fucking listen. I promise you, every single one of them's in crunch mode and they don't want to be going out for drinks. Okay, they want to be fixing their shit or something. Like, this is absolutely bonkers ridiculous. Hello, Water, thanks for the follow.
And then this happens.
Okay, cosplay pet peeves. People often say like, well, I'm really big, or what can I do? And it's like, if you're a big muscular dude, go be Superman. Yeah, I think that anybody should be whatever they want to be, whenever.
Yeah.
The thing is if a 300-pound person wears Superman and they put themselves out there and then it gets on the net, how is that going to help? I guess, but do you think that because of that they shouldn't dress up as Superman? A lot of people can't handle, the criticism. Chloe, she's very much so a newbie and she's really like a little bit naive. I feel like as a cosplayer you need to have the responsibility to know what you look like. You have to really look at yourself in the mirror and know that if, my boobs are out, I'm going to get comments. I don't know.
Okay. I get semi-shitty comments on my YouTube sometimes because of my model and her assets. Which is fine. It's whatever. But for a lot of people, cosplay is a hobby. And it's supposed to be fun. So if you're 300 pounds, first of all, you're insinuating the 300-pound person is just a fat person, I guess. Okay. Sure. But like, why can't they dress up as Superman just to have fun? They're not trying to make a career out of this. They're trying to have fun. This is cosplay pet peeves, and you're just getting mad because people aren't showing up looking like you, I guess? I don't know. Who cares? Why do you care so much about what other people are doing? Like, 100%, mind your own business. Mind your own. Why do you care so much? So much. Yeah, The Rock is like probably close to 300 pounds, like 260 something. Like sometimes, one, if you're tall, you weigh, like you're gonna weigh more. Two, if you're muscular and tall, you're gonna weigh more. And like, even if you're not muscular and maybe you're a little portly, who cares? It's supposed to be about having fun. Quit ruining it. Quit ruining the fun aspect for people. Like, what is your damage? What is your issue? Hey, here's a thought. Maybe if everyone else around you doesn't look as good as you, you're going to stand out more. Shouldn't you be happy that people are just going around and not putting as much effort into it as you or whatever? Like, gee, I hate this. Like, this is a pet peeve of mine. Who cares? Straight up, I don't give a shit what other people are doing. All right? They're out there having fun. If they're not if they're not affecting me negatively, like actively in any way, I don't care what they're doing. Like, whatever. You want some tips to make your cosplay look a little better? I will try to help you. But like, if you're just kind of like, but I might not even be able to. So like, who cares? Wear it. Have fun. I can tell you some really lazy ways of like making it look maybe a little nicer at the show. Like if you're like, oh, how do I make it? Take some safety pins, go into the bathroom, flip it on inside out, fit it to you better, put it on right side out. It's going to look a little better. Just with safety pins. I have been at a convention and I went, this doesn't actually fit me right. And I gathered the back of a coat using safety pins because I was like, fuck it, who cares? I'm here for a good time with my friends. I have used mitten clips, which are 2 clips with elastic strap between them. And I've used that to like fit garments to myself before. Because again, I'm only here for a good time. I don't care. I've let Abby borrow something and then had to go through and like it was fitted for me. She's thinner than I am. So I just went through mitten clip things, safety pin things, like did a bunch of stuff to make it fit her better. And then was like, let's go. It doesn't matter if the back doesn't look perfect. We're here for fun. Like, quit worrying about what other people are doing. it shouldn't negatively affect you. I don't understand why people let it negatively affect them. Y'all got too much cares about other people on your hands. I don't know. Like, whatever.
Who made up these rules? There's like some grand cosplay lord who's like, you shall not cosplay something if you are overweight. That's
correct.
Ridiculous.
You're right.
Cosplay is about having fun and being who you are and who you want to be.
Swallow that hard for now. We'll talk about it in just a second. But I want you to keep one thing in mind. Who exactly said the Superman thing? Jesse is finishing his costume in the hotel room, but nobody cares about him. It's time for the contest, which means it's time for those weird spinning green screen shots again. Jesse even gets his helmet going on his head. Wow. The judges this time are two people who are not cosplayers and Yaya Han. They talk to them on stage again, which is still weird. Chloe yells a triple Beetlejuice on the stage, and for some reason, the show edits the audio to play this clip twice when she clearly only said it once.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice!
Here's both of those clips playing at the same time.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice!
It's the same audio clip. Victoria does make it to the stage this time and shows off the dress that Jinyo made for her. And Yaya asks her directly on the stage how much of the cosplay she made herself. She apparently only made the overskirt. Monica goes up and we get another Negri shot, but not a word from her.
I still don't understand why you're saying this shit on stage. Oh, wait, yes, I do, because it's all reality TV bullshit. It's not really how things are done in any way, shape, or form, because you would have already asked this shit or just quietly disqualified her from winning anything in the fucking prejudging. But okay.
The other judge says that she didn't see her acting like Poison Ivy and gets booed by the crowd. Some of those boos are probably fake, but it's really weird and Monica's traumatized and
you weren't acting like Poison Ivy. What do you mean? Is this one that we have to act in? Is this a skit-based one? Or is it just a craftsmanship-based one? Because if it is purely craftsmanship-based, then it shouldn't matter if I'm acting like her or not, because it's based on how well my costume is put together. So what do you mean? Okay.
Comforts her. Jesse gets a laugh out of the grumpy judge and a kiss from his partner, and it's time for the awards. Third place is not in the cast. Second place isn't in the cast either, and neither is first. No one in the cast wins.
Aw,
wow,
Jesse.
Y'all sure did set these people up for success, didn't you? What a
Is anyone helping Jesse? Like, is anyone giving Jesse suggestions or anything? Is y'all going like, hey, here's how you can improve? Anything? Is any of this happening? Or if they're just like, okay, go home, bye, Jesse. Like, come on, man.
Show. While I'm giving a lot of grace to the cast, people around this time were not. A lot of people were placing the blame squarely on the faces of the cosplayers who were part of it. And obviously, I really hate what production did here, but it cannot be denied that the cast did some controversial things that got them their own round of backlash. This is the part about fat shaming. So this moment and Becky's insecurity moment in the gym would go on to be the most controversial moments that came out of the show. I agree with Chloe.
No, I'm sorry.
To be the most controversial moments that came out
Her
of the show.
Sipping this drink. You can see my thing right now, right? My pointer. But this scene with her sipping the drink while she's holding like a lemon, like, I don't know, that just made me laugh. Just like,
I agree with Chloe. Anyone should cosplay whatever they want, and you should not care about what other people think of your cosplay. With Becky, it's obvious that this is something that she felt insecure about, and that's an issue for her and her therapist or her doctor. My problem is that the show decided to paint this as the standard for cosplay and not a personal struggle that Becky deals with. The dinner conversation, though, this rightfully caused quite a stir, but maybe not for the reason you might think. Here's what each person said in that segment, and you might think, wow, people were probably really mad at Riki. But actually, it seems like people were way more angry with Yaya.
Because Yaya, in that segment, says, I feel like as a cosplayer, you need to have the responsibility to know what you look like, and you have to really look at yourself in the mirror and know that if, you know, my boobs are out, I'm gonna get shitty comments. Which means if you are someone who is maybe on the larger side, you should expect people to be shitty to you and say things to you. You should just expect that. No, I mean, so there is a thing where like people suck, like they just kind of do. But like, you shouldn't just be mean to somebody in cosplay. Like, again, mind your business. If you don't want their picture, don't ask for it. You don't have to be shitty to them. But like, Yaya is this like face of cosplay. Like she was like she's not a founding cosplay member. Like she wasn't the first cosplay or anything, but she is on this pinnacle, right? She's like the face of cosplay for a lot of people. So for her just to kind of being like, yep, that's the way it is. Like you need to have responsibility what you're looking like. And if you don't, look a certain way, maybe you shouldn't cosplay or whatever, or you're going to get like comments. That seems really shitty. I mean, like she didn't say all of those things that I just said, but like obviously, but like it's kind of the vibes. And so that's shitty. So when you are in a position of like, you have a platform and you kind of say something like that, people get upset. Like people are going to get upset because you have a platform.
It seems like people were way more angry with Yaya. In Yaya's book, she says that this scene decimated her. Within minutes, my Twitter and Facebook blew up. Seemingly endless comments appeared on my feed. They all condemned me as a fat-shaming bitch. I got emails, tweets, and direct messages that told me what a horrible person I was. My follower count dropped. Several people said that they threw away my signed merchandise. In short, I got canceled. But notice how what Yaya said about Chloe is in a confessional, and how Yaya doesn't mention largeness in the know what you look like statement. She mentions boobs. This is what Yaya says she was actually talking about.
What? Did they edit it in a certain way to make Yaya look worse? God. I can't believe it.
I was shocked to watch a scene where a comment I made was edited to sound as if I was telling plus-size cosplayers to be aware of how they looked, when actually, I was talking about myself, sharing how I take a moment to get into the right mind before walking into a crowded con hall in a costume. Making disparaging comments about plus-size cosplayers is something I would never, ever do. We were still under contract, so I couldn't openly talk about what happened behind the scenes. I made a statement on my Facebook page that reiterated my belief that all people...
I'm gonna read this whole statement. Buckle in, guys. All right, this is a reminder encouraging posts to experience the new cosplayers alike, and that is hidden for me. Disclaimer off the bat, I do not see myself as an authority in cosplay. Excuse me? Okay. I only call myself an ambassador because I wanted to steer away from other superlative titles given to me by myriad of sources over the years. I know of many ambassadors for cosplay, people who do a lot of good in the community or positive influences. I strive to be more like them. I'm speaking to you simply as a cosplayer who cares about this unique, great thing a lot, and I see the community in turmoil right now. This amazing community that gave me so much happiness and wonders over 14 years. So I want to talk about some hot topics in cosplay. Right now, me talking to you, in all honesty, my true opinions. This is a hobby, an art form, a career for some, a social pastime for others. Cosplay is not a sport. There is no rulebook, commandments, or memo on how you should cosplay. If you want to buy a cosplay, go for it. Enjoy wearing it. Many cosplayers I know commission costumes from experienced costume makers, and is a wonderful relationship to witness. My friends get to make costumes for a living, and someone out there feels like they can take on the world with an awesome custom fit costume for them. It's beautiful. If you want to make an elaborate costume and put hundreds of hours into it, go for it. Love the process and cherish the creative outlet that it will give you. Craftsmanship is the driving force behind all of my costumes, and I speak loudly about my love for craftsmanship and how it should be important to those who want to make costumes. Because caring about something pushes you to explore further, be bolder, try more things. It is a joy to be hands-on while making a costume, and I want to share that feeling with everyone. If you want to dress like a sexy character, go for it. Cosplay is a great confidence builder, and for some, a motivational tool for eating healthier and leading a more active lifestyle. You can't diss anything that can help you live a longer, healthier life. I have dressed as some very sexy characters in the past. Is that okay? Before cosplay was in the mainstream's eye, the main audience for it were other cosplayers and congoers. Many understood that you were portraying a character that was designed specifically to be vivacious, sexy, and a fantasy. The amazing thing about those female characters is that no matter how they dressed, they stood on their own, fended for themselves, and were confident, powerful women. I think the attractiveness to characters such as these is their validity as a person beyond just being female. Now, cosplayers are judged at face value, often by folks who have never heard of the games, comics, or characters before and don't know what that they were designed that way. Well, I'm here to tell you that most sexy characters were designed by someone in the professional entertainment field. We here are replicating those designs. Also, if you ever wondered why so many female cosplayers dress so provocatively, consider the notion, that maybe as young girls we grew up reading these comic book characters, stories, watching Princess Leia kill Jabba the Hutt despite being in a slave outfit, and admire Jessica Rabbit loyalty and love for her husband despite something. I can't read the rest of it. You've also okay. Also, if you just want to change a design of a character to be sexier because you want to dress like that, that's fine too. She's kind of she mentions she's done sexy characters like Felicia, Jessica Rabbit, Power Girl, Ankh Su Namun from The Mummy, but she also has made sexier versions of characters before that aren't default super sexy. I don't know. Whatever.
Of all sizes and skin tones could and should cosplay. However, despite doing so, the incident was brought up in professional settings and in my personal life again and again. So I kind of thought people were mad at Yaya for calling Chloe naive because she disagreed with Riddle, and for saying cosplayers have to be able to look in the mirror and know what they look like, but ignoring the statements from her book entirely, and just looking at what she said at the dinner table. She never said anything about fat people. She said boobs. But I could totally see how people were mad at her with the way it was edited. But what I was shocked to find out, after I looked through lots of old Facebook posts, was that people thought that Yaya was the one to make the Superman comment when that was said by Riki. Riki, for her part, did make a Facebook post on August 21st after the episode saying, Yaya has received a lot of flack for a comment that was mine on Heroes of Cosplay tonight. I've only watched the episode once and I will rewatch it in the morning, but I know what I say when this topic is brought up. Quote, anyone can cosplay, but if you're 300 pounds and cosplaying as Superman, be prepared for awful comments on the internet, or anytime you put yourself out there. I hate the idea of someone getting discouraged from cosplay because of crappy comments online. If you think it won't affect you, go for it. My comments aren't meant to discourage a new cosplayer. It's meant to inform a new cosplayer. There are negative sides to cosplay. Sadly, one of them is and always will be internet comments. My statement is meant as a warning, not as a judgment. If you see someone bashing Yaya about my comment, please inform them correctly.
I hate to say this, though. It doesn't matter what you look like. You put an internet or a picture on the internet, people are going to bash you. Someone's going to bash you. That's just life. I mentioned this before on my Twitter a couple of months ago. That it was hey, this one was specifically about newer VTubers. I don't think I'm really an old VTuber. I've been at this for a year and a half, something like that. But hey, ooh, cat hat. Hey, you don't necessarily have to have thick skin. However, you are on a platform, you're going on the internet and people are able to be anonymous on the internet. Okay. That is the thing historically. So you're putting yourself out where people can anonymously interact with you live, or just they can anonymously comment on your post and it doesn't get back to them. It never negatively affects them to say these quote unquote mean things to you. So normalize banning people in your chat or something, or in your comment section or whatever, because You don't have to put up with like disrespect or whatever. But like it is a thing to note. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you're too sexy, they're going to say mean things to you. If you're maybe a little chubby, they're going to say mean things to you. If you're very chubby, they're going to say mean things to you. If you're very thin, they're going to say mean things to you. It doesn't really matter. Someone's going to say mean things to you because there's no accountability. Like, there's no consequences for them saying mean things to you. So that is like a thing. But also, that shouldn't stop you from going out and enjoying your life. There's definitely been some times when I read a YouTube comment, it kind of like brings me a little down, and then I have like a little reality check of like, I don't know this person, and like the grand majority of comments I get are positive. So like, why am I getting down about this one dude? Like, who cares? So like, you know, sometimes you have to give reality checks. Like, I'm a pessimist, and that's why it affects me. So like, you know, give myself like a little like, hey, looking at this and how many comments are on this video and one of them is negative, like that's stupid for me to get upset about. But it is something you have to think about. Ignore it. It's fine. Are you having fun? If you're having fun, who cares? Just enjoy it. People are going to be mean to other people just because that's what they unfortunately get a kick out of life about. Like which it's kind of sad, I'm going to be honest, but like whatever. Get therapy or something. Get a different hobby. But, you know, be aware that, yeah, that kind of thing can happen, but that's going to happen to anybody no matter what you look like. Literally, no matter what you look like. You cannot make everybody happy. Someone's going to come in and try to rain on your parade no matter what. So ignore those comments and just go out to have fun. The way she said it, though, didn't really feel like it was a warning, but again, they've been editing things to make everyone here seem like the worst person they can make them. So, it is what it is.
People in her comments were responding with, fat people know this and don't need your warning. What's super weird, though, is that Riki's comments were all very understanding, and were mostly just trying to inform her of how she was wrong and how she caused harm. But over on Yaya's Facebook, they were attributing the Superman comment to her, because this was 2013. And if you didn't have a DVR, you couldn't go back and watch it again to know for sure who said it. Riddle had a bad opinion. And sure, her perspective is shaped on her experiences with comments online. Her opinion boils down to don't expose yourself to a disgusting culture. But that ultimately leaves the blame on the larger body instead of the actual problem, the people online. I also highly doubt she still holds that opinion after all of this time and after she had all of these people tell her directly why it made them upset. What's more important in my analysis of production's bullshit is that if production gave a single fuck about the people in larger bodies watching, they would have cut that out. Production knows that this was the first intro to cosplay that some people would have, and they wanted fat people to know that they weren't welcome.
No, they just wanted drama. Period. They just want drama because drama makes more people watch it. And that's what they want. It's reality TV show bullshit. I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying it. Don't trust reality TV. Straight up, don't trust it. Okay? It's not real life. If it was real life, it would be too boring to show. It wouldn't make money, all right? They have to hype up the drama and the bullshit. Don't believe it. So they're editing things to create more drama. They're like, you know, editing things to put drama where there is none. Like, that's what they're going to do.
You get to decide how you feel about that, but no matter what bad opinion somebody had 10 years ago, that's no excuse to go harass them. And especially now, when negative engagement is a good thing for most people, if you do not like what anybody said on this show, just block them. The meanest thing you can do to someone who has a social media following is ignore them. So block them, okay? Don't go back.
Very specifically block them so they don't come across your page. Because even if you sit there and look at it, the algorithm's like, they like this, and they're going to show you more and like similar shit. Just block them or mute them, depending on what website you're on. Just make it to where like you shouldn't see any of their stuff. Don't engage with it, because if you engage with it, that's positivity to the algorithm gods or whatever. So like, Yeah. That's another thing. Like, I get, like, you know, sometimes I'm like, if you don't like my videos, that's totally okay. You know, that's fine. Thank you for telling me, though, because that's good for the algorithm. It's good for me, I guess.
Like anybody, I'll call your mom. Or comment below so the engagement goes to me. Now for episode 3, where Riki does another thing that might piss you off. Con for this episode is MegaCon and starts with Chloe returning a giant piece of EVA foam to Holly and Jessica, who have decided to compete against each other for the first time. Holly is doing Laliari from Galaxy Quest, and Jessica is doing Tank Girl. Neither of these are very complicated costumes, but Holly is making an alien prop to go with hers to make it more competition worthy. And she's making it out of furry foam and balloon latex. While Jessica makes snide remarks about other people that have cosplayed as Tank Girl and how she's not like them because she's going to be the first person ever to wear a bald cap.
Because no one else has done it.
No one has ever worn a bald cap before. Becky is doing one of the girls from Wreck-It Ralph, and after being told by Victoria that the winner at Emerald City was a big armor build, she decides that taffeta isn't enough on her own and that she's going to make a car, which she doesn't know how to do, so she's going to need help from her assigned sidekick, her roommate, Lance. He thinks this is nuts, but he's making the car for her anyway, which completely negates the addition of the car because she didn't make it.
Yeah, that's another thing. They, this is at least 2 people now. Like, okay, Jesse, we have seen Jesse and his partner helping him. Helping being the key word there, because it's like, oh, I don't know, are helping him with the, like, vacuum former or whatever. But we haven't really seen Jesse's partner basically make his cosplay for him. We have noticed one chickadee, her boyfriend, is basically just making her cosplay, and now this chickadee's roommate is making part of hers, and it's like, if you did not make part of the if you did not make the grand majority of the cosplay, like, if you did not make that cosplay, you're disqualified because you didn't make it. You can do, for the most part, you can have, you can be a model for somebody. So, like, Chickadee's boyfriend, who made her dress for her, could be like, I made this. I'm submitting it for the cosplay contest with a model wearing it. So, like, this, my girlfriend's gonna model it for me. But that means that his name is the one that is associated with that cosplay. And if that cosplay wins, the dude wins. The boyfriend wins, not the model that is wearing it. If that makes any sense. Like, so if it's like, okay, you know, Tron Dress won, they're going to say, the winner is, you know, boyfriend's name who made Tron Dress modeled by Chickadee. Like, that's kind of how it works. Like, he has to go up and accept the thing because he's the one that is winning, not her. She didn't make it, so she can't win.
I think he's making it out of insulation foam. They don't tell us what it is, but I love to see the PPE. Riki is making this Betty Page as the Rocketeer cosplay and says,
I hear lighting up wins you awards. A chance of winning as it lights up.
Is this where people's obsession with lighting up came from? Was it this show? Riki is doing
my feeling about light up cosplays is a lot of times you can't tell. That's my personal opinion. If you're not in a dim room, because like a lot of times cosplay contests, they have either spotlights or heavy lighting on the stage so that people can see you. Which means a lot of times the lights aren't going to show up because you are so lit up from the lighting on the stage. They would have to turn all the lighting off the stage for you to see the lights. And if they're not, especially if they're not doing prejudging, and even if you're just walking around a convention halls are pretty well lighted. They're not really dim. Like maybe the video game rooms might be dim, but like for the most part, convention halls are pretty lit up, well lit. So like you don't often see lights in cosplays. So I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's neat. But at the same time, like, is anyone really going to notice? I've definitely not noticed when people have had light up things. because it's hard to tell. It's just hard to tell. I'm not saying don't do it. By all means, do it. Like some people have done really cool things with lights or whatever. I'm not saying. Yeah, the Tron cosplay was glowy. They turned the lights dimmer for that to show up. I don't know if you noticed that. The stage was dim. This stage was dark, which is not super normal. So, like, yes, Ricky is Black Cat in this. I don't know. This is just me personally. Again, I don't judge cosplay contests anymore. It's been years since I have. So I'm just like, that is just my personal opinion. I mean, adding lights as a thing will probably give you extra points, especially if you incorporate them really well and not sloppily. I'm just saying, like, outside of this world or this, like, reality TV show, I'm just giving my opinion about light up things. Maybe I'm just blind, though, so who knows.
Complicated molding and casting for this again, and the light she ends up putting in it is some kind of emergency light, and the show acts like this is the most impressive thing about the costume. She sculpted, molded, and cast that rocket pack and the helmet. She made a beautifully tailored leather jacket. I mean, she probably knows that the light is just some extra pizzazz, but production really wants to focus on the stuff that most people understand, instead of actually getting everybody on board with how impressive all the other stuff she did is. I'd even take them just mentioning the material names so that people could go Google and find the Smooth On YouTube channel. And man, I wish they would have given any kind of nod to that leather jacket. We don't see her make it, but that doesn't mean she didn't make it, right? At the con, Becky's box is busted.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Did you make it? She not make it?
And there's pieces of the car missing.
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
And they both have a little bit of a breakdown about it. Then they have Riki explain that some
dude should cosplay Shaggy. But also, I feel you. Because, like, what do you mean? First of all, how are y'all getting around and transporting shit? Because I'm going to be honest, my paranoid ass would probably, I would hate every second of it. But I would probably be like, cool. I'm going to see I can drive there. So I can make sure all of my shit arrives in one piece. And if it's broken, it's my fault it's broken, and I can see that it's broken. Like, you know, I don't know if they're shipping stuff. I don't know how they're transporting things. I don't know.
Sometimes cosplayers bring more than one cosplay to a con.
Yeah.
You have your competition costume that you compete in and your walk-around costume that you wear to the con. I'm not making fun of her here. I'm making fun of the fact that production even thought they needed to explain that. Basically, production thinks you're stupid. Oh, and when she's getting dressed, she's rehearsing what she's going to tell the judges, which is cute because this is how most of us prepare for prejudging, but prejudging has still never been mentioned. So she's practicing what she's gonna tell them on stage, I guess. The main problem I have with the talking on stage stuff is like, it's a contest about how well made a thing is. We should not also be judging people's public speaking abilities.
Yeah.
Jessica needs help getting her bald cap on, and she insults herself because she's mad because she thinks Holly's costume is better.
I'm sorry that I'm not you and not
Oh my god, don't start this. This is so ridiculous.
The stupid green...
A whole meltdown about one of my cosplay pieces for Awa breaking. And then it was like a piece that like I had altered, and I was just like, I was very negative about it. It's fine. I got over it pretty quickly. Well, pretty quickly for me. But like, it did kind of rain on my parade for the rest of the day. Kind of. I don't know. But like, I can't listen as a pessimist. Like, I can't even falter for that.
Screen reveal shots happen again with the fake flashes. Backstage, the cast is filling out forms for the judges where they write about what they did to make the costume, and Riki wrote a lot because she did a lot, and Holly takes this as a jab. But then we get to the stage and they do the weird talking thing again. Becky's car doesn't make it to the stage. The judges are impressed by Holly's furry foam and sprayed balloon latex alien. Jessica makes sure the judges know that she's definitely the first person ever to wear a bald cap, ever. And Riddle stumbles through her words on the stage for a second, and the first time I saw this, I didn't think anything of it. But the stumble is in response to this question.
So you made the jacket?
Yeah.
All right, Rick, come on. Remember the family motto. Don't it up.
Yeah, I made the jacket and it's all lined and it's done with leather.
Oh.
Excited to announce I will be selling this Planet Comic Con exclusive limited Rocketeer print with proceeds going to Harry Cell Leukemia. This print will be limited to 50, signed and numbered for $15. For those who aren't going to be at the convention, the Rocketeer prints that don't sell will be available online. And when they are sold out, they are gone. Costume, Riddle and SMP Designs. Cosplayers, Riddle's messy wardrobe.
Oh no.
Yeah, I made the jacket and it's all lined and it's
Jacket and harness by SMP Designs. Who is SMP Design? Who's SMP Design? Because I was like, okay, Riddle's messy wardrobe. That could be Riddle's. No, no, it's SMP. I was like, messy. No, who's SMP? Some man participated.
Yeah, I made the jacket and it's all lined and it's done with leather.
Ma'am, for the awards, Jessica gets third in Tank Girl, Riddle gets second, and somebody not from the cast wins in a big armor piece. I also want to dig into a little bit of something I saw that was kind of weird with Riddle's making segment. So, as I said, I don't think she made that jacket. It seems like it was commissioned. But what I thought was really weird was that they have two scenes with this rocket pack, right? In one, Chris comes in and there's some drama about a bad placement on the mold. And in that one, the rocket pack is unpainted. The second scene is the one I talked about with the light. And in that one, the rocket pack is fully painted. But both Riki and Chris are wearing the same clothes. I think they just pulled out like a failed cast of the rocket pack to make some fake drama for the camera. And that just goes to prove how fake this show was. But what's important is that we can assume that these are on the same day. On top of that, Riddle also seems to be sewing and ironing something while this is going on. She never says what, but there's pattern pieces on the table that look like they are for the jacket. But she says in the scene with the light that she's leaving for the con tomorrow.
So I end up finding this flare emergency light and it doesn't fit up into the rocket pack. And I'm like, because I'm like pretty much leaving the next day.
And you absolutely cannot make a jacket like that in a single day.
Is this the same fucking jacket? Okay, we're at 37.31. Is this the same jacket? Because this looks a little different. I feel like the buttons are not as bright.
I made the jacket and it's all lined and it's done with leather.
Oh.
So you made the jacket?
Yeah.
I'm not crazy, right? Like the buttons look different, right? They're like brighter. And this looks different. It looks like it fits her different. Am I wrong? It's okay if I am. He also doesn't have this one buttoned, which drives me a little crazy, but maybe the button fell off. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's a choice. Oxidation depends on what kind of buttons they are. This one also has metal detailing, it looks like, on the sleeves. And this almost looks like, I can't tell, but it looks almost elastic.
Second, and the first time I saw this, I didn't think anything of it. But the stumble is in response to this question.
So it might be a photo filter.
Yeah.
All right, Rick, come on. Remember the family motto.
Cheer 100, I'll be taking a seat here.
Oh, don't up.
Thank you for the bits. Okay, no, she just has it unbuttoned. Like, the button is there. It's just unbuttoned.
Yeah, I made the jacket and it's all lined and it's done with leather.
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah, I made the jacket and it's all
Hold on.
lined.
Hold on. We're going to be here for a minute. Not just this.
Leather.
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah, I made...
I don't think this is the same fucking jacket. Because, like, it doesn't look like there was, like, something shiny on the sleeves of the other one. I don't think this is the same jacket. I could be wrong. I mean, it could just be filter stuff. It could be editing. I don't know. But to me, it doesn't look like the same jacket. I'm going to be obsessing about this for like 20 minutes. Yeah, well, the one that's in this picture is pointing at the bottom. Yeah, it's pointing at the bottom. It's just like a buckle and it's like turned in a different way. I mean, she definitely had different suspenders. This one does look shorter though. Maybe not. No, it's not. Maybe the suspenders are the same. I don't know. It looks really different to me. It might just be photo editing.
Day. Plus, this was shot in 2013, and the first instance of Riddle wearing this costume.
It could have been adjustments over time. You're right. Could have just painted on the non-leather, but you're right. I mean, that's valid. I mean, like, the wig in that photo is like a lot better than the wig she wore on stage too. So, like, I mean, it could just be like overtime adjustments. It could just be like heavy Photoshop and editing.
Play was in 2011, but the pattern even being there threw me off even more because her having the pattern means that maybe she did make it herself. And I searched hard for in-progress photos on both Riki's socials and the socials of the commissioner, and I found absolutely none from either of them. Riki has plenty of the helmet and the rocket pack being made, so I know she made those, and those alone are super impressive, but I never found a single progress photo of the jacket. And over the years, Riddle has posted this cosplay many, many times, but she has been inconsistent about crediting who.
Also, to be fair, the wig is probably a lot to do with the fucking helmet because, like, pin curls like that are. I guess pin curls like that aren't gonna hold up in with a helmet on them. So, like, I get that. Lurker, thank you for the follow. So, like, I get that, but, like, I'm still confused.
Made the cosplay. Most posts just credit herself, but there are a few posts where she does credit the commissioner, but does not specify what he did for the cosplay. Her having the pattern threw in a wrench for me, but it is possible that the jacket was a collaboration between them. But the biggest thing is, on stage, she said, "I made the jacket." And it is not inherently cheating to go into a costume contest with a piece that you yourself didn't make or had help making, as long as you are honest about that. Someone else had a hand in this cosplay and was not credited. Maybe she did credit him on stage and they just didn't show it, but from what they showed, she lied on stage, thereby cheating in a costume contest that she did place in. But I can also understand how much pressure she was under. Riki competed in this because it's a really impressive and beautiful cosplay, and she wanted to show it off on TV. And I really don't think she would have even competed in it if it wasn't for the TV show. At this point, you might be wondering who even made this show, because it's pretty clear by now that they had very minimal knowledge of not just cosplay, but it seems like they barely did any research on the people that they had in the cast. Like, don't you think a reality show would revel in exposing someone for straight up lying on stage? Shockingly, they were not cosplayers. They were a bunch of reality TV people. The show was produced by 51 Minds Entertainment, whose head and the head of Heroes of Cosplay was Mark Cronin, who went on to be the creator of an actually successful show, Below Deck, which is also known for sneaky audio dubbing edits. I was able to find an article that painted a pretty clear picture of why he had so much interest in our community: money and sex. If you assume the world of cosplay is filled with so
I'm sorry, I just needed a minute for that to submit itself into my brain. I'm 40 minutes into this video. I've been recording for an hour and 45 minutes. Oh my god. What do you mean?
Social misfits confused about their
The world of cosplay is filled with social misfits? Brother.
If you assume the world of cosplay is filled with social misfits confused about their priorities in life, you're in for a surprise. These people are very good at what they do and turn their skills into a highly successful business. Most of these folks started in cosplay for a goof or a lark. Now they have massive fan followings, merchandise lines, product endorsements. The stakes are huge, especially when it comes to costume contests. The article goes on to point out that 8 of the 9 cosplayers featured in the show are female. Mark's thoughts on that were, male characters tend to be simpler. Lots of body armor and weaponry and spandex and capes. They're usually nowhere near as interesting and intricate or sexy and cool as the costumes worn by women. And let's face it, female sexuality is a big part of comic book art and a big element in the con world. The producer himself said outright that he cast the show based on wanting to feature hot women and then made a show that actively shamed those women for being hot.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. We had, shaming of Yaya Han, not Yaya, we had shaming of Jessica by Yaya Han, apparently, and, allegedly, whatever, and, just... Oh my god. Listen. Armor builds are not easy and often are very intricate. All right? My brain is not braining. First of all, there's a lot that goes into armor builds. One, what is the armor? How are you building it? What materials are you using? How are you connecting it to what you were wearing under it? What are you wearing under it? Are you making that? Are you just you can't really see it, so it's just something that is going to keep it on my body? Is it standalone and you don't need to connect it to something that you're wearing? Oh my god. Right.
No way to know if this is true, but from my own experience, I can say that the cosplay community has more women and queer people in it than it does men. So I could understand why the cast of a cosplay show would be primarily female, but when the reason is titties, that pisses me off. You sought out to make money off of our community on the breasts of those within it. And you chose to laser focus on the very few costume contests that give out money, essentially boiling our community down to mammary glands and cash. Though he does acknowledge in the interview that it can be a pricey undertaking. You might win $500 in a costume contest for an outfit that cost you $2,000 to make. But you're stepping into the shoes of greatness. Yeah, no dude. Nobody is competing for money. We do it because it's one of the few ways that we as cosplayers can have our work critiqued by our peers. Critique is an integral part of any art form, but unless you're in an educational setting, it's pretty hard to get feedback from experienced artists on your work. But cosplay contests are how we do that. They are how we motivate ourselves to outdo ourselves. It's not about money or fans for us. It's about the experience, the backstage camaraderie, the on-stage adrenaline. But no, they cherry-picked costume contests that give out monetary prizes when most do not, because they wanted stakes that normies could understand. Anyway, this is where I literally shouted, "Oh no!" because the next episode's con is Anime Matsuri. It's a...
Pause it right there. Okay. First of all, some people just want to walk on stage too. Like some people just want to be seen because they put in a lot of work into their cosplay. It might not be about the critique for them. It might just be like, hey, I put my everything into this cosplay and I wanted to be seen and I wanted to be appreciated. Like, hey, it's a little bit of like, hey, look at me. And that's fine because you put in so much effort into it, right? And so like sometimes that's what it is. Dude, what do you mean? Yeah, sure. Some want their 15 minutes or 3 minutes or however long of like fame or whatever. But like, that's okay. You know, some people like just going on stage motivates you to make a better cosplay because you're like, hey, a lot of people are going to be seeing this. So I need to put in more effort. I need to try different techniques. I need to like perfect this as much as possible. Like it's a driving force. And then you go up there and you're like, yay. And then you have a crowd cheering on you and you're like, and you feel vindicated. Like you're like, yes, I put in so much effort and it's being acknowledged. Thank you. Right? Like it's just like a thing. And then sometimes like there's definitely, you can build a career out of it. Cause like you are even guessing cause you can be like, hey, I won best in show at this convention. I won best masters or best journeyman or best novice or whatever at this convention. And I would like to come and judge your convention's cosplay contest and help out other people. Like it's a whole thing. Oh my God. This is Jesus Christ. I hate this dude. I don't know this dude, but I hate this dude. Straight up. Gives me the ick. Dude gave me the ick.